Hello, wherever you are. Welcome to this channel. You are privileged to be the first person or first few people or as many folks who will be watching this. This is the very first video that I'm posting. But unfortunately, I'm beginning my video on a very rather somber note. Somber in that I'm trying to respond to a social issue. I would rather say social justice issue. The execution of Kenneth Eugene Smith by the state of Alabama a few days ago. Now, for those around the world, the state of Alabama is one of those. Alabama is one of the states, basically one of the 50 states in the United States of America. So this execution took place in the United States of America. Some few states, Alabama, for example, still holds capital punishment as part of the justice system, So this was one of those things that I just couldn't stomach. I just felt compelled that I should at least seek your opinion, what you think, around the world. If you read, by the time you read this or watch this video, please, I will be seeking your opinion. I'll be seeking your ideas as to whether it is justifiable to execute someone in the way this gentleman was executed by the state of Alabama. Now, before I delve any further, let me say my name is Moses, and I'm a social worker, and I'm also a public health official. That's what I did in my graduate school, and both courses dealt around social policy, basically. So I'm so big on advocacy for this matter, and that's why I felt I was morally obliged to respond to this issue. And there have been other executions, of course, and you may be wondering, why didn't you respond to others before? Well, I just didn't think at the time, it didn't take me as much, and I wasn't taken up until this one. And I'll lay down as to why I think this one struck so close to my heart that I had no choice but to rather respond to. Okay, and this basically involves a crime that the state of Alabama alleged Kenneth Eugene Smith committed back in 1988. According to the state of Alabama, Eugene Smith was hired by the late wife of this gentleman who basically was killed by, or alleged to have been killed by Smith, for purposes of collecting insurance. This insurance crime takes place it's very common, around, places in America. Once you have accumulated enough insurance, people can, spouses kill the other for purposes of collecting that insurance money. So, but why is this such an act that should attract your opinion? And at the end of the video, I would like you to think or to kind of like offer your suggestions as to whether you still support capital punishment, and as to whether you think execution should still be a form of punishment. I feel it's medieval, and it is a kind of a method. I feel in this day and age in 2024, there should be other forms of punishment. A common one is, have somebody in prison for life so that they don't pose any more danger to society. Okay? And I would also like to disclaim that I'm not a legal expert. I'm a social worker. I'm a social person. I'm more into social justice. So most of my opinions are going to be like socially based. So I'm not going to delve into the legality of the crimes as to whether the crime was fitting and all that. I'm just trying to respond to the mechanism of execution that this gentleman went through, and I felt that is where it struck me. Now, without further ado, let me not again run in circles over the same thing, because you'll be like, okay, what is your point? What is it that you really are talking about? Now, this gentleman was executed through lethal injection. And this time, it was the first time that this agent of execution was used by the state of Alabama. I think in the whole world, if I'm not mistaken, short of information that may surface, this is the first time, at least in the US, that this agent of execution is being used. Now, nitrogen, is used, was used in this case, as a try. They want to see whether they can upgrade from the previous agents that were used. And add to them the previous agents that were used. For example, midazolam was used, and they are trying to pride themselves that this was an upgrade. Nitrogen hypoxia basically robs you of oxygen, and you die through asphyxiation. But unfortunately for this gentleman, Kenneth, it took him 7 gruesome minutes for life to escape his body. And that's where my focus is. And I'll be posing that question in the course of all this deliberation. What do you think about somebody struggling for their life for 7 painful minutes? Executions that have been carried before, other experts argue, or who have been witnesses to this, it should take 2 to 3 seconds, and under a minute, one should expire. But unfortunately for this nitrogen, or the method of nitrogen hypoxia, Kenneth convulsed for 2 minutes. If you're familiar with convulsion, somebody, is shaking uncontrollably because they're either gasping for lack of oxygen or something, is convulsing for 2 minutes. And according to the reports, after convulsing for 2 minutes, it took him 7 minutes of heavy breath. Just imagine that for a second. What do you think of that? Does this punishment really match that crime? I would think death in and of itself should be enough, but not making someone suffer for 7 gruesome minutes. Just think about that. Do you really support that? What do you think about that? Please leave that in the comment section. And I'm going to just kind of give you a background to many other unfortunate people out there in the world who have been hopeless, and they have seen options of their suffering dwindle. You're hopeless, you're not seeing any solution, and they end up unfortunately taking their lives. I have never known somebody who takes 7 minutes to kill themselves. And I'm not trying to glamorize take life or suicide. As a matter of fact, that's a topic for another time. But I'm just trying to be as practical in this example. People have shot themselves. People have jumped. They don't want to take another painful 7 minutes to just take their life that they're trying to end, like Kenneth did. You understand? So it kind of shook me to my core that we are in a country where this kind of punishment is still prevalent. And the state of Alabama had the audacity, after this gentleman suffered for 7 minutes, to try to boast that they are trying to share and asking other states with the similar mindset, sick-minded fellas, that please adapt this kind of method of execution of making somebody suffer for 7 minutes. God knows how many more minutes someone else will suffer next time. And how do you sleep? How does one sleep? How do you pride yourself as somebody who has introduced this kind of method? And mark you, the argument was that it was a step up from the previous botched execution. There were other dissenters, those who disagreed with this method of execution. The American Veterinary Medical Association discouraged the use of nitrogen in the euthanization of animals. And I'm quite sure you are familiar with euthanization. If you're not familiar with euthanization, let me put it this way. Basically killing, for lack of a better term. And euthanizing, they euthanize, for example, horses, dogs, cats, pets that have terminal illnesses, and instead of allowing them to suffer when they're not going to heal, they're put to sleep. You see, those experts said they discouraged the use of nitrogen as a form of euthanizing animals. Just imagine on a human being. Now they allege this nitrogen is supposed to, deprive you of oxygen. But the experts in the American Veterinary Medical Association said actually it's very difficult to get rid of oxygen using this method. And I think that accounts for how long Kenneth suffered. 7 minutes. How do you watch somebody strapped? Just imagine somebody was choking you. You cry for help, but instead this time you are there strapped and everyone else is there to watch you die. 7 minutes you suffer. Is that moral? Please leave your comment. It brings to question to many other questions. I'm just adding my voice to many other advocacy questions. How do we get rid of capital punishment? Or in case we can't get rid of it, how do we advocate against this nitrogen hypoxia as a way of execution? Please, this is my very first video. I'm impassioned about this. Help me to subscribe. Help me to support this channel. This is my very, very first one. And unfortunately, I seem to be yelling and angry, and I am. I'm not even faking that. I am a very passionate advocate for issues that are socially related. Social justice and advocacy are things that I hold near and dear to my heart. And those who know me know that I wear my feelings, my sleeves when it comes to injustice. So help me to subscribe, please. Click that like button. Leave your comment. I will be posting in the subsequent clips videos in response to many social issues, laws, ordinances, policies, health, name it. Anything that I think does not sit well or does not benefit you. I join the voices of many other advocates in raising awareness. If I can only help one person to understand whatever it is, I'll be willing to. That to me will be success. So help me subscribe, help me to share, click that like button, okay? And please share. I like your comment. I want to hear your comments, what you think about this issue of nitrogen hypoxia as a method of execution. Please, thank you for watching. Let's keep the fire burning. Please subscribe and thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. Bye.